Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 108 of the Axe to Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC Abu Dhabi, Whittaker versus the Ritter. And on the boxing end, of course, we got to sprinkle in a little boxing. We got Clarissa Shields in Detroit on one end, and on the other end, we have a top-ranked card, actually, the last top-ranked card on ESPN, featuring Xander Zayas. But before we get into any of that, my brother, please tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's flyweight, we have Almabayev going one-on-one with Jose Ochoa. Almabayev is 21-3 overall, fighting out of Kazakhstan, hailing from Kazakhstan, 31 years old. Ochoa, 8-1 overall, fighting out of Peru, hailing from Peru, 24 years old. Not Almabayev's original opponent. He was originally scheduled to fight Ramazan Tamirov. Tamirov ended up pulling out, and like the warrior Ochoa is, always stepping up, always stepping in. Short notice for Ochoa. On paper, I think Almabayev is probably going to be the favorite. This fight just got announced, so there's not really any kind of odds out at the moment. But I'm going to say he's going to be the favorite only because of the grappling and the UFC experience, right? That being said, you guys know how I feel about Ochoa.
You know how we feel about Ochoa on this podcast.
Big Ochoa fan, excellent striker from Peru who's got underrated grappling, underrated jits, and that's surprising coming out of Peru because those guys don't really,
Yeah, it hasn't developed on that side of the world.
From a betting perspective, if I think the odds are what they are, it's probably dog or pass. I like the Ochoa side. Almabayev, a little low volume. Almabayev, a guy who will definitely go to the grappling, but can be stuffed. He does have the experience edge, like I mentioned before, because, his last fight was against Cop. Cop was able to shut him down and actually stop him. For Almabayev, it is a step down. For Ochoa, not necessarily a humongous step up. Give me Almabayev for the lean. I think theoretically he has the clear path to victory here. But if I think this is going to line up the way I think it's going to line up, I'm definitely going to be degenerate hunting on some Jose Ochoa here.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think Almabayev is a clear lean. There's no lines for this fight yet, so we can't really give you decisive picks and exactly where we're going with this fight, but based on our hunches here, Almabayev should be the favorite. I agree with that lining just because of the UFC experience and the grappling advantages here, but just based on Ochoa's last fight against Cody Durden, where he was able to stuff a first round Cody Durden, who I think has underrated wrestling, who is dangerous in the first round and then completely flatline him at the beginning of the second round. I think if the line is disrespectful enough, I don't think a play on Ochoa is not a bad look. We tried to fade Kavanaugh against this guy when he was sitting at like plus 300, 400. We played him again against Durden, hit there. The cards that were for Kavanaugh in that fight with Ochoa, it was a lot closer than the cards reflected, to be frank with you. So for me, if this is a disrespectful line, once again on Ochoa, Ochoa is the play on the dog side here, just based off of value, because if he can stop the takedowns and makes Almabayev fight his fight, he's going to look like a minus 400 in there. Give me Almabayev as the lean. Give me Ochoa as a possible dog play.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have Martin Buday going one-on-one with Marcus Almeida, a.k.a. Marcus Buchecha. Buday, 15-2 overall, fighting out of Slovakia, repping the Slovak Republic, 33 years old. Buchecha is 5-1 overall, fighting out of Long Beach, California, but repping Brazil, 35 years old. We have an interesting heavyweight fight here. Interesting, not because it's a high-level fight. It's definitely a low-level fight, but interesting because it's a stylistic clash. We have the debuting Marcus Buchecha here, a.k.a. Marcus Almeida, a guy coming straight out of one, a guy who debuted in MMA a couple years ago. But don't let the MMA resume fool you. Dig a little deeper. His grappling is extensive. He has been grappling professionally since 2009. 13-time BJJ champ. The guy's got jits.
Legit.
On the other end, we have Buday here, who clearly has the UFC experience, is definitely going to be the better striker in this matchup. The reason why I think it's an interesting clash of styles is because on the feet, I think Buday, even though he's got the shorter reach, should be able to piece up Buchecha. Let's keep it a buck. But Buday's style is to, fence push you up against the cage, and kind of grind you out. I don't think he wants to really be in contact with Buchecha here. Because Buchecha, all he wants to do is grapple. He's going to look for any kind of way in. Buday's style kind of works against him in that aspect. I'm going to be leaning the debuting Buchecha here to find his way on Buday's back, take him down early. I think fight ends in sub is probably interesting, but I think Buchecha by sub is probably what I'm going to be looking at and leaning here a little more. Give me Buchecha here for the win.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm a little more confident on Buchecha. I think Buchecha's wrestling and grappling and the pace he's able to push, even when he is tired, is relatively impressive. I'm not sure what the pharmaceutical testing is over there at one.
Spoiler alert, none. Them guys are the kings of EPO over there, 100%.
It's a questionnaire.
Do you take? No.
Sex?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but I think Buchecha, even though he has less of the MMA experience and less of the UFC experience, him going against Rug was the fight that I really needed to see. It's his only loss on his resume. Also, just a complete dogfight, has a great chin. I think he's going to be able to walk through whatever Buday gives him. I feel like he also will probably attempt to jump guard on Buday if Buday attempts to cage push. And he has a very good guard, very active guard. We'll go for ankles. We'll go for arms. We'll pull you down. We'll work you. We'll flip you over. Knows how to work on the butterflies. Does a lot of good shit from his back. So even if he does lose position here, I think he's still in line for a sub. Outside of Buday outstriking him from the outside, which Buday is not like a prolific striker and he's not like a one-punch knockout artist. I feel that this is a fight that's tailor-made in a lot of ways for Buchecha to kind of get his game going, because Buday typically likes to just push into his opponents, as my brother mentioned. So I like Buchecha here. I don't like the line at -200 out of the UFC debut, but I am going to be looking at the unders, particularly on his side, like Buchecha and the under, as well as his sub prop. If he gets Buday's back here, I do feel like he's going to find a sub. His jiu-jitsu is much more high level than Buday's, even though Buday, I think, is a no-gi champion, but this is a multiple-time world champion. And if you've ever grappled with a guy who's a multiple-time world champion jiu-jitsu artist, you can't really do anything to them. Even guys that are mediocre or like a champion, but like they're not multiple-time world champions. There's levels is my point. So for me, give me Buchecha here by sub. We'll see how we play close to the fight time, but that's the official lean for the podcast sake.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Mohammad Yahya going one-on-one with Stephen Nguyen. Yahya is 12-5 overall, fighting out of the United Arab Emirates, repping the United Arab Emirates, 31 years old. Nguyen, 9-2 overall, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, 32 years old. These are two guys that I have previously faded in the past and successfully faded in the past. I'll start on the Yahya side. His nickname is literally the UAE Warrior. The guy doesn't fight out of Dubai. I don't know if it's a passport problem or he has a fear of flights. Either way, the guy is on a 2-fight losing streak. The guy is low volume, but to his credit, I think he does pack a punch. I think he's got decent striking whenever he does decide to strike. And I do think he has some grappling. On the Nguyen side, another guy who I have successfully faded, is going to have the volume edge here, is going to have the pace edge here. He'll go back and watch a ton of tape on his opponents and he'll game plan accordingly. I'm going to be leaning Nguyen here for the win. I think he's the side. Not that much confidence because I don't like either fighter, but I think Nguyen KO decision is probably the most likely outcome here. That being said, Yahya is on a 2-fight losing streak. A man fighting with desperation is a dangerous man. He is going to have the hometown advantage here. They are in Abu Dhabi.
We've seen some questionable cards there before.
So if it goes the distance, I hope you're on the dog side of this fight. But give me Nguyen for the win here.
Yeah, his fight style, his nickname, his fear of flight, his passport issues. You know what it sounds like?
What does it sound like?
It sounds like his last name.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bunch of hoopla.
My man is yapping out here.
Sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Bunch of malarkey.
I'm with you on everything you said. I'm going to keep this nice and short. I think this fight is 1-800-GAMBLERS. I think if you're picking a side, it's 1-800-GAMBLERS. I'm with you on Nguyen just because of the volume edge here, but I do question his wrestling. No one's really pushed him on the wrestling side. I do know Yahya can get taken down as well too. So I'm kind of just like, this is a very high variance fight. I'll lean Nguyen for the podcast sake for the win, ironically.
Bars.
Wink, wink. But there's no way I could get on the Yahya side here because, this is Nahani Yahya in the lower weight classes who's a jiu-jitsu specialist. This is a guy in Mohammad Yahya who I think is mid. That's just what it is. So give me Stephen Nguyen for the win, and I'll leave it at that.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have the monster, Damon Blackshear, going 1-on-1 with dangerous Davey Grant. Blackshear, 17-7-1 overall, fighting out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, 30 years old. Davey Grant, 14-7 overall, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but repping the United Kingdom, 39 years old. I think this is Damon Blackshear's fight to lose. I like Davey Grant, and I think on the feet he can make things a little spicy. I think he can make things a little more technical. He's probably gonna have the striking edge here. Damon Blackshear, not a terrible striker, but it's not his forte. The grappling is where he really excels. Davey Grant has a ton of sub losses to a whole bunch of guys who I didn't know even existed on the UFC roster. Davey Grant's got the weirdest resume ever because, he's got some names. He's got a Sun Sal on his list. He's got Marlon Vera on his list.
Got robbed in the Marcos fight, by the way, too.
Oh, 100%.
He won that fight.
But Davey Grant, again, crafty veteran. Can't make things a little spicy here, but he is on the older side here.
39.
Blackshear, up and coming, grappling, BJJ edge. I think this is Blackshear's fight to lose, like I mentioned before. I think Blackshear by sub decision, leaning more towards sub. That's what I like for this fight. When lines drop, I'm definitely going to be poking and prodding because I'm a fucking degenerate and I got to find something to bet on. So give me Blackshear here for the win.
Yeah, this is typically where I would do my best Cat Williams impression. Be like, Damon, you are not in prison anymore, Damon. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious.
This is his fight to lose, is my point. And when I say not in prison anymore, Damon, I mean it's time for you to let these boys know. I think he is one of the more underrated fighters on the roster, to be frank with you.
Oh, yeah.
We've made a lot of money off of him.
Guy's a workhorse.
The last fight against Alateng Ali, I think his name is.
Ali. He wasn't boxing Ali.
He wasn't boxing Ali.
Oh, no.
But he did make it interesting, was able to push it to decision. I thought if he could get Alateng to the floor, he could exploit some of the issues and deficiencies Alateng has with the grappling. But Alateng, to his credit, performed reasonably with his first line of takedown defense, was able to work off the clinch. Damon's wrestling is not great, but I'm not too sold on Davey Grant's wrestling takedown defense, as well as what Damon could probably do to him against the cage. I also could see a club and sub situation here too, because Damon does have decent power, and Davey is 39 years old. I think my brother's probably on the same boat with me here. I like this fight by sub or decision for Damon Blackshear. If he stops him with a knockout, I'd be very surprised because Davey is crafty, does know how to survive in big spots. Did go all three with Marcos, who is a good striker. And like I said, I thought he got robbed in that decision. I expect that Damon's going to want to push the grappling here. We'll see how the lines play out when they get close to the fight time. If it's super disrespectful to Davey, I don't hate a dog shot because he can make things interesting. Was losing the fight to a Suntan until he got the sub, got him out of there. But for the podcast's sake, we're going to lean our guy here. We love Blackshear on this podcast. I think he gets it done via sub or decision, and that will be the official lean of the podcast.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have the king of kung fu, Muslim Salikhov, going 1-on-1 with the lion, Carlos Leal. Salikhov, 21-5 overall, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 41 years old. Leal, 22-6 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 31 years old. This is going to be an exciting fight for as long as it lasts.
Unders.
Do not expect this fight to go all 3 rounds. Muslim Salikhov has got a good round and a half of cardio at best. Not to take away anything from Muslim Salikhov. I mean, he's an excellent striker. Even at 41 years old, the king of kung fu lives up to his nickname. He's got hands. He's got kicks.
This is Bruce Lee shit.
He's got that Bruce Lee shit. That being said, Carlos Leal, fucking beast. He's a beast of a man, a guy who might be on EPO, allegedly. I'm not gonna throw out any kind of crazy accusations. He is coming from the PFL. You know, we don't know how that drug system is over there, but he's a good fighter, a guy who might have gotten robbed in his debut fight against Fakhretdinov, but is a guy who packs a lot of punch. I think this fight probably ends in knockout, and I'm gonna be leaning the lion for the win.
There's no might-up. He got robbed in the first fight against Fakhretdinov.
He did.
Fakhretdinov. You feel me?
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. And it was over there, too. It was in the same the same country. So for me, that's why like I love Leal because you know he's gonna go to stop the fight.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's not gonna try to let this go to the scorecards.
He's coming for war.
He got fucked on the scorecards against Fakhretdinov. This is a fight where if Muslim Salikhov can't get him out of there in the first round, that second, third round might be like a little too graphic for TV with Leal. I'm very serious. Like it's gonna be an ass whooping in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with the younger guy here, the guy who I know is fucking durable too. Give me Carlos Leal to do dirty things in this fight. I like the unders. I like violence. I think people are gonna get fucked up in this fight. And I expect Leal to walk out of this probably with some damage, but I expect him to get the win via knockout.
People gonna bleed, it's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
Next fight on the card at women's strawweight, we have Amanda Ribas going 1-on-1 with Baby Shark, Tabatha Ricci. Ribas is 12-6 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 31 years old. Ricci is 11-3 overall, fighting out of Cali, but repping Brazil, 30 years old. An interesting crossroads fight here, in my opinion, because I'm a Ribas fan. I think Ribas is good. She clearly has more UFC experience. She's clearly the better fighter, in my opinion here. But stylistically, this fight is interesting because it kind of falls into kind of what Ricci wants to do. Ricci's going to push the pace. She's going to throw volume till she gets to the body, and she's going to try to take you down because I think where she excels is on the ground. Ribas can be taken down. Ribas is probably going to be the better striker here, but Ribas a little chinny. Ribas does have the tendency to play around on her back a bit when she gets taken down. I want to pick Ribas here, but I got a weird feeling. This fight stinks just a little bit.
It does stink.
A pinch of stink. A pinch of shit. A pinch of something here.
Poop emoji.
Drop the poop emojis. I think Ricci's going to win this one. I think either way, no one finishes anyone here. I think it's going to go to distance regardless. Give me Ricci here by split decision. Split majority. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, this is a fight where like I love Ribas, but Tabatha always just seems to get her way on the scorecards.
And she's always in the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to her. I mean, she's a tough, durable woman. She's short.
Good fight IQ too.
She's got high IQ and she pushes a pace, man.
Yeah, I don't mean to get on the girl too much because I'm gonna be honest with you. The way the UFC pumps her, I don't think she's her. To be honest with you, you know we say he's him. I don't think she's her.
Yeah.
I think she's a limited fighter. I think she has a long way to go before she's a championship level fighter. But this is a fight where she can exploit Ribas with the wrestling. It bothers me to fade Ribas here because I think she's the better fighter, which is it's just what it is. But the one glaring hole in Ribas' game is her ability to be controlled on the floor and for her to play off her back too much. So this is a girl in Tabatha Ricci who we max betted if you tuned into the podcast against a Yan Shanan. That was free. She audited her low key and we expected that shit. We knew that was going to happen. Tabatha didn't know what to do. But this is a fight with Amanda Ribas where she is going to know what to do. I think she's going to be able to get to the body like every other competitor of Amanda Ribas has done. Get into the floor, win this via decision. Could be unanimous, but I'll go with my brother here. Split majority for Tabatha Ricci. That's the play I'm going to be looking at. It will go all three. That's the lean for the podcast.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have the minor, Nikita Krylov, going 1-on-1 with Bogdan Guskov. Krylov, 30-10 overall, fighting out of the Ukraine, repping the Ukraine, 30 years old. Guskov, 17-3 overall, fighting out of Russia, but repping Uzbekistan, 32 years old.
One of the more interesting fights on this card.
Definitely going to be an entertaining fight for as long as it lasts. I do not expect this one to go all 3 rounds. Do not. If it does, something went terribly wrong.
Someone fucked up.
Somebody came in with an injury and just fought to survive.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen here because it's going to either end with a Guskov knockout or possibly a Krylov sub. I'm going to be leaning Guskov here for the win. Not with a high degree of confidence because I do think Krylov does have a clear path here with the grappling. Guskov does have a sub win, but do not let that fool you. That was in a fight with a man who was looking for the door after a successful first round. We're going to be talking about him a little later. It was more of a mercy submission. That's the best way to describe that. Guskov didn't really want to go for that guillotine, and the guy was just like, please just take my neck and get me out of here because I can't take no more.
Elekana, yeah, the guy who covering in the next fight out, by the way.
Krylov, a guy who's very capable on the ground, but Krylov is also a guy who can be caught on the ground. Also a guy who get me caught on the feet. And I think Krylov coming off a very scary knockout not too long ago against Dom Reyes.
Called that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you did. And that was easy money. This might be a fight where it's a little too fast, too soon for Krylov here. I don't know how fast that chin recovered. I know that he's Ukrainian. The +5 durability right off rip. But he's fighting against Blade 2 here.
Jared Nomak.
He's going to suck the blood out of the Krylov here if Krylov fucks around and finds out. Like I said, I don't think this fight goes the distance. Krylov sub, Bogdan knockout. I'm going to be leaning the Bogdan knockout.
I tell you what, like I was not too high on Bogdan coming into the UFC, and he's slowly just like growing on me because he's doing what he has to do to win these contests.
Yes.
And I feel like whatever fight that Anthony Smith had left in his body went into this man. Like, because they're brothers and shit, you know?
Absorbed them.
Yeah. Nomak, you know, he gave Wesley Snipes all he could handle in the movie. Now he's in the UFC.
Motherfuckers be trying to skate uphill, boy.
And this is just a fight where I'm with you. I think Krylov could present some problems, but I just have a weird feeling Guskov's gonna find his openings here. And it's crazy because I think he's sitting as a dog, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, and I'm with on that dog shot right there, man. I feel like this is dog or pass. Krylov should have the wrestling edge here. Doesn't go to it as much as I like him to. And that's the big problem here. And Bogdan can fucking wrestle. I trust his chin a little more than I trust Krylov's at this point in his career. Give me the dog shot here on Guskov. I think he finds his chin and puts him away.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have Ibo Aslan, the last Ottoman, going 1-on-1 with Billy Elekana. Aslan is 14-2 overall, fighting out of Turkey, rep in Turkey, 29 years old. Elekana is 7-2 overall, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 30 years old. Another fight that shouldn't theoretically go the distance. I don't think it will. Two fighters whose cardio I do not believe in. Two fighters who I think have clear paths to victory. Very high variance fight. Not the highest level fight. It's not going to be the most technical fight. Elekana is probably the more technical guy if I had to choose between the two guys. His clear path is the grappling. If you can get to Aslan, especially early, Aslan could be in trouble. Aslan's only 2 losses have come to guys who can grapple him. That being said, Aslan has improved his takedown defense. Is going to be the bigger guy by a decent margin. Aslan is also going to be the guy with the power. I think if Aslan can pace himself here, I think he can break Billy. It's a fight that if you're interested in betting, it's probably a little better from a live betting perspective. In terms of a pick, I am going to be leaning Ibo though, and it literally just boils down to one thing. Is going to be physicality. I think he's just going to be the physically bigger and more dominant man in that octagon, and I think that's going to be the edge that he needs to win this fight. Give me Ibo via KO. I'd say first, second round.
Yeah, I'm there too. I'm also looking at where they're placing this on the card. I don't know if it's going to remain this way, but he's the prelim main event. I think they're trying to feature him low-key. Ibo, the faster hands here too, which is crazy, even though he's the bigger guy.
Probably not the more accurate hands, but definitely the faster hands.
Agreed. And I feel like this is a weight class that Elekana probably shouldn't be fighting in. He should be fighting at middleweight. And you've seen some of the deficiencies that he had. I know he was fighting Bogdan in his last fight on short notice, but you've seen the physicality really take its toll. And Bogdan's not bigger than Ibo. Ibo's a bigger light heavyweight. So for me, this is, to my brother's point, going to come down to the physicality. I feel like Ibo's going to be able to bully him in there. The hand speed, I think, is going to be evident a little bit. I agree with you in terms of not being accurate, but he will clip him, I feel, before Billy clips him. So I'm going to lean Ibo here. Not with a high degree of confidence. This is a low-level fight. I think Ibo is a limited fighter that they are trying to push. I think they're just trying to feature him because they're on this side of the world. They're propping him. There's a lot of signs as to why he is the play here, but not sure if I'm going to get around the betting it, depending on what the betting line's at. I agree with my brother. I'm going to be looking at props. I would love to bet the under here, but this could be a sloppy fight down the stretch because both of these boys gas. It's probably a fight best to stay off of, to be honest with you, but we'll see how we play it close to the fight time. Follow us on all social media platforms for that detail.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell going 1-on-1 with Saeed Nurmagomedov. Mitchell, 17-3 overall, fighting out of Arkansas, aka Arkansas, 30 years old. Nurmagomedov, 18-4 overall. Fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 33 years old. Interesting fight. A fight where I think Saeed is actually at a striking advantage here. On paper, grappler versus grappler. Bryce, coming off an absolute ass whooping from Zhang Silva, is looking to rebound here against Saeed. Is he going to have any success here? I don't know. I doubt. I'm leaning more towards doubt here. I think Saeed is going to have decent grappling earlier on, but as the fight continues to go on, will start to slow down. That's where Bryce possibly could take over. Unfortunately, I think this fight goes all 3 rounds. I am going to lead Saeed though. Ultimately, the fight is on his side of the world. He does have the striking. I think he can keep up with the grappling, and I think Bryce is going to be, unfortunately, on a 2-fight losing streak after this one.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Saeed simply because it's on that side of the world, low-key. This fight is going to be extra close, especially down the stretch, because Saeed historically has bad gas tank issues, and I know Bryce can wrestle hard for 3 rounds. Saeed is going to have the striking advantage, so I expect him to have the bigger moments with the more dynamic kicks and punches in between the grappling exchanges. But this is a fight that, like, if it was in the States, Bryce can definitely squeeze it out. Give me Saeed for the win here, just because he's the more complete MMA fighter and just because he has the home field advantage. I will be looking at the split majority props here, just because I do think there's a high probability rather that this fight can be close. But give me Saeed for the win here for the podcast sake.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have No Mercy. Petr Yan going 1-on-1 with the Maniac, McGhee. Yan, 18-5 overall. Fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 32 years old. McGhee, 10-1 overall. Fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, 35 years old. No offense to Marcus McGhee here. I'm actually a fan of Marcus McGhee. I think the guy is very articulate. I think the guy fights like a fucking savage in the octagon.
Great story.
Goes to the finish. Excellent backstory. This is a huge step up in competition for him. And when I say huge, I mean fucking huge. I mean, his last fight was against Jonathan Martinez. And you're going from Jonathan Martinez to Petr Yan. I think this is Yan's fight, obviously, to lose. I think Yan is going to fucking style on him, unfortunately. McGhee is tough, though. I think McGhee will last the first couple rounds for sure. In combination because Yan is a slow starter. And McGhee is, you know, he's more technical, I think, than people want to give him credit for. I know the man's got a head like Stonehenge and the heart of a lion, but no mercy is coming. Just give me Petr Yan here. He should get a finish. Low key should. But I think this is going to be a Petr Yan 3rd round decision. I think that's where I'm kind of settling for this particular fight. And it's going to suck because I like Marcus McGhee. I don't want to see him get fucking smoked, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, you read my mind on the 3rd round decision here. I feel like Petr Yan probably going to forfeit the 1st round, but may not just because he started quick in the last fight. Marcus McGhee, you got to hope he can wrestle him down. I don't have that hope. Marab couldn't control this guy for 5 rounds, had to take him down repeatedly, and Petr Yan consistently popped back up. Jonathan Martinez was able to debilitate Marcus McGhee in the 3rd round, and it was bad. Like, he kind of got saved by the bell in that fight. Petr Yan is the computer chip. He is the Terminator from the future that is able to read moves like Tony Stark was against Captain America and whooped his ass in Civil War. I feel like he's going to be able to dissect him within a round and a half, and then it's going to be downhill for Marcus McGhee here. And I'm with my brother here. I like this guy. Great story, good fighter, entertaining fighter, but this is a huge step up in competition. This is on Petr Yan's side of the world. He is going to style on him. 3rd round decision is how I'm looking at this fight. Petr Yan for the win. Probably going to get a stoppage in the 3rd round. But 3rd round decisions to play. That's how I'm leaning.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, and has currently constituted the co-main event for Abu Dhabi. We have Shara Magomedov going 1-on-1 with the power bar. A Marc-André Barriault. Shara is 15-1 overall, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 31 years old. MAB is 17-9 overall, fighting out of Boca Raton, Florida, but repping Canada, 35 years old. This was a fight that was on the main card, but was not supposed to be the co-main event. The co-main event was supposed to be Aaron Pico, Movsar Evloev. Evloev ended up falling out. Pico currently without an opponent. I guess they're just going to put him on another card for another day. In steps Shara here, a guy who is very popular on this side of the world, and a guy where, I mean, we know his deficiencies. It's in the takedown. After his last fight, I think they're, giving him a little bit of a softball here in Marc-André Barriault. Nothing wrong with MAB. I like MAB, but he's not going to shoot any kind of takedowns on Shara. Even if he does, I don't think he's going to have a very high success rate. I think they're setting up Magomedov here for a knockout. MAB chin is a little suspect, just to, put it nicely. Give me Shara Bullet here for the win. Should be a knockout. I'll say knockout decision. I don't know how else to put it. This shouldn't be a co-main event, but good luck. Have fun watching this one. Give me Shara Bullet here for the win.
First of all, I want to get this out the way first. Shout out to all the homies that tailed us on this podcast because we picked MVP against this fucking bum last time. Made a lot of cash money on that fight.
We're making a lot of cash money on MVP fights. People try to fade the man, but we know better.
He's much better than people advertise, to be frank, just because he's a Bellator fighter. But that out the way. This is Shara's fight to lose. MAB's not going to shoot on him. MAB's striking defense is horrid. He gets hit. Chin is super suspect.
You're being very nice.
Yeah, I'm being very nice because I like MAB. I like his style. I mean, dude, if he even shoots on him, he could get him down by accident.
100%. That's
how bad Shara's fucking takedown defense is. But he's not going to do it because he's MAB and he wants to be entertaining. And
he's the power bar.
Yeah, he's a badass from Canada. But unfortunately, this is Shara's fight to lose. It's on Shara's side of the world. Shara's got the power edge here. Shara's got the better chin at this point of their careers.
He's definitely got the speed advantage as well.
Yes, and he's more dynamic.
Yeah.
Like he has more creative ways to land his shots. I expect him to get the knockout on this fight. Look at the placement of the card. It was probably going to be the featured fight, which means they were trying to showcase this guy again. Give me Shara Bullet here by knockout. That's the lean for the podcast.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight and is currently constituted the main event for this Abu Dhabi card. We have Robert the Reaper Whittaker going one-on-one with RDR, Rainier the Ritter. Whittaker, 26-8, fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 34 years old. The Ritter, 20-2 overall, fighting out of the Netherlands, repping the Netherlands, 34 years old. This is a interesting fight, a fight where surprisingly, I'm kind of going a little back and forth on, but maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe you can talk me off of this one. Maybe you can convince me otherwise. I think Robert Whittaker probably should be the side here. Clearly the better overall fighter, way more UFC experience, but he's going against a guy here in the Ritter where, listen, I'll be frank. I didn't like him when he first came in. I thought he was just a giga version of GM3. Like if GM3 is the T800, RDR is the T1000. He's just a bigger, longer pause version of Jeremy Mearshart, but a better version of Jeremy Mearshart. But he's also a guy who has been shutting me the fuck up. A guy who's been looking impressive in every fight that he's been in so far in the UFC. Coming off a win against Bo Nickel,
which we called on this podcast, by the way.
Which we did call on this podcast. Going from Bo Nickel to Rob Whittaker is a humongous step up. Listen, I get it. There's a lot of people high on Bo. I think Bo is still green as fuck and still needs a lot of work. The Ritter was not the right opponent for him. Let's keep it a buck. That being said, the Ritter is going to have the size. He's going to have the reach. The guy is going to look like a just a different weight class when he's going to be in there with Rob. The guy's a moose of a man. I think Rob can style on him, but the Ritter can pop. The Ritter can bang. The Ritter fought as heavy as heavyweight. And the Ritter's bread and butter is the ground game. Bread and butter is the clinch game. I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm going back and forth. I feel like I want to pick Rob here, but I almost feel like a dumbass if I overlook all the advantages that the Ritter has in this fight. I wish he would have fought Vittori or Paulo or Cannonier, any one of those guys before he got to Rob. But it is what it is. Give me Rob tentatively, but I'm ready to eat a whole bunch of shit. This is not the first time I faded the Ritter and looked wrong. It's probably dog or pass. I don't know what the odds are. Haven't looked at them. That's all I really got for this one. I don't know. You tell me, my brother.
They got Rob sitting as low as a minus 155. The Ritter sitting as high as a plus 145. So that's interesting. I'm with you in terms of how you're viewing this fight because it does stink a little bit.
I'm genuinely split. I'm split on this. I don't know if I'm making the right decision here. I'm leaning Rob purely based on experience, and IQ and, just overall game.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where is Rob over the hill? I don't think he is. I think people are looking at the Chimaev fight and they are overvaluing what Chimaev did. If Chimaev doesn't break this portion of Rob's face, which, by the way, from what I understand, was a pre-existing injury that he injured as a child, that fight gets to the second round, and we're having a whole different discussion about how that fight probably looks. I played Rob's rounds 2, 3, and 4 in that fight. Didn't hate the Chimaev sub look, because I think it was sitting like a plus 225, which is insane. But my thing is, it's a situation where you have to hope the Ritter has as good of entries as Chimaev or Yoel Romero, because those are the only guys I've seen that have been able to effectively wrestle Rob down. Rob having success against both with popping back up, Chimaev having the most success in terms of controlling him. The Ritter is not an Olympic wrestler. Where this fight gets really interesting is in the clinch. Can the Ritter impose his will in the clinch like he did against Bo Nickel, like he did against GM3? The thing is, Rob, super light on his feet. Rob has only been beaten by literally champions. Rob, a guy who, yeah, he got bullied by Duplessis, but Duplessis' striking is better than the Ritter's, and he hits harder than the Ritter, in my opinion. I think he lands his shots a little more selectively, a little more precision, than the Ritter. I'm going to lean Rob. I'm with you tentatively. I don't like laying juice on him. I hope this line closes because then I'll feel a little more comfortable playing Rob.
Yeah, this, for me, if I had to make a bet, this is just purely based on a lot of the interesting dimensions and challenges that the Ritter might pose here. Could be dog or pass.
Yeah, it could be dog or pass. And I'm not sure if I'm there yet, but I understand people who are. I'm going to lean Rob, but to my point earlier when you were speaking, this fight stinks, man. There's something about it that fucking stinks. I don't know what it is, but usually that means probably play the other side. That's why I'm not hating a possible dog play on the Ritter. I hope his line gets disrespectful because if he gets a plus 200, he's playable.
Automatic.
If Rob's line shrinks below minus 150, it's at minus 155 right now on Bet Online. It's a situation where I'd be a little more comfortable laying some juice on Rob. But once again, if you're asking me, just based on from what I've seen, Rob could dog walk this guy. That's how this fight could look. I think it's a scrape it out fight for the Ritter and or Whittaker, or a possible dog walking by Whittaker.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a high risk fight for Rob because, I mean, to fight an up-and-comer with not only dimensions, but poses different kind of challenges that Rob's never really seen in the octagon yet, that's risky, man.
I agree, but what I will say is that the Ritter hasn't fought anyone who is as light on his feet as this guy, and the speed, I think, is going to be fucking evident in this fight for Rob. The thing is, the Ritter has a decent chin, too. So, is Rob going to lamp him? I'm not sure about that. I think Rob's going to have to put a couple of punches and combinations together to get him out of there. And that little 1-2 high kick that he does, is he going to be able to get his foot up high enough to touch this guy who literally is kissing the clouds because he's so fucking tall? The fight stinks. It's Rob for the lean, but I'm not sure I'm going to play it, ladies and gentlemen. Come close to the fight time. Please follow us on all social media platforms to see how we're going to approach this.
And that does it for UFC Abu Dhabi. Moving right along to the sweet science, we're going to be kicking it off with Claressa Shields defending her undisputed female heavyweight title. She's putting it on the line, going one-on-one with Lonnie Daniels. Claressa Shields is 16-0. Perfect. The champion fighting out of Flint, Michigan, 30 years old. The smiling assassin Lonnie Daniels is 11-2-2 overall. The challenger is repping New Zealand, hailing from New Zealand, 37 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight that obviously is Claressa's to lose. The hardest part about this fight and capping it is whether or not it's going to be a decision or a knockout. Claressa went to decision her last fight, but that girl was humongous and she was able to wear some of her shots. The thing is that Claressa is able to land on these girls at will at heavyweight because they're not accustomed to her speed. Her angles, her fight IQ, her ability to pretty much land whatever she wants on these girls gives me a lot of pause in terms of taking her by decision. Her last fight was against a bigger girl, went to decision. Okay. Her fight before that was against a girl that if you looked at them physically, the girl fought at heavyweight for most of her career, but Claressa looked like the bigger girl. I'm expecting that she's going to look like the bigger girl based on from what I'm seeing on the metrics and the fight dimensions here against this girl, Lonnie Daniels. Lonnie makes a lot of good decisions defensively, not a big power puncher, which alarms me in this fight because I feel like to get Clarissa's respect, you have to be able to land damage on her. I like the knockdowns in this fight. I feel like Clarissa is going to be able to knock this girl down. I also probably like a mid to late round stoppage for Clarissa in this fight, the more I think about it. But once again, this is a fight that can go the distance just because Lonnie does make defensively good decisions, does exit good. The only thing is, though, she does leave her chin up at times. And if Clarissa is watching the footage, which I expect she is, she will find ways to close the space when she's angling out and land either a hook or a straight to put this girl down, which is once again why I love the knockdowns in this fight. Final verdict, knockdowns for this fight, I love. Give me Clarissa Shields. Fuck it. By knockout here. I think she's going to be able to get this girl out who I think she's physically going to be able to overpower and physically overshadow with her dimensions. Lonnie Daniels is in for a rude awakening from Australia. Give me Clarissa Shields for the win here.
Moving right along to what is now officially the last top rank card on ESPN. We got a couple of fights I want to cover here, but we're going to be kicking it off with Rohan Polanco going one-on-one with Quinton Randall. Herrero, perfect. 16-0. Polanco is repping the Dominican Republic, or hailing from the Dominican Republic, 26 years old. Quick draw. Quinton Randall, 15-2-1 overall, fighting out of Houston, Texas, where them Texas boys at, 34 years old.
Yeah, this is a step up in competition for Rohan Polanco. The Maidana fight was an appropriate step up. His last fight, that fight went to decision, called down this podcast just because of Maidana's chin and his boxing acumen as well as his experience. I expect it's going to be a lot of the same here with Quinton Randall. A little bit of low volume, but a slick 1-2 down the pipe. Very good counterpuncher. Knows how to fight off his back foot. Does have experience in the ring against high-level competition. Did go to decision with Brian Norman Jr., which is impressive. It was 2 years ago before Brian Norman kind of took off. But he was able to exploit some of the deficiencies in Brian Norman's game, which is why I think Brian Norman is being picked up by Devin Haney low-key. That fight showed me a lot. But back to this fight, Rohan's going to walk him down. He's going to throw punches. He's going to go to the body. Quinton is going to be defensively responsible. He's going to get his offense off. I think he's going to get Rohan's respect as well. If Rohan does not stop him early, I expect this fight to get dragged out to decision. Give me Rohan Polanco to have the ring generalship and to get this win by decision, just because I respect Quinton's ability to make defensively good decisions and to land damage at will and from good angles. But I don't think a bad prop to look at is Rohan's 1-6, just because Rohan is dangerous with his firepower, and if he lands on this guy, he can hurt him and get him out of there. But I expect that Quinton will drag this out, make it this a decision fight. Give me Rohan Polanco via decision.
Next fight on the card, we have Emiliano Vargas going one-on-one with Alexander Espinoza. Vargas is perfect. 14-0. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 21 years old. Espinoza is 19-3-1 overall. Fighting out of Ecuador, repping Ecuador, 34 years old.
This is an interesting fight. Another appropriate step-up fight for Vargas, who's the son of the Fernando Vargas. So this is Top Rank doing its justice to get their guys in line and get their young prospects propped up, essentially. But this is an appropriate step up in competition. Alexander Espinoza, very explosive at times, can get dropped, does angle out with his hands down a lot, which is why I think they're looking at, which is why I think Top Rank set this fight up, is I think they know Vargas can exploit some of the defensive deficiencies that Espinoza has. But Espinoza, crafty boxer, knows how to fight off his back foot, dynamic puncher, another guy who has a good 1-2 down the middle, does get outclassed up by the higher echelon of boxers because he allows guys to create angles on him a lot of times. Has been dropped before, as I mentioned, can be low volume at times. And I feel like he allows the opponent to kind of have the fights that they want. Since Espinoza, even though this is an appropriate step up of competition for Vargas, I was going to go decision, but then you look a little more into Espinoza's history. He has been stopped twice. This is a guy in Vargas who knows how to cut angles. Espinoza kind of gives you angles. Susceptible when he exits. Vargas very good when people are exiting with catching them. I expect Vargas to find the knockout here. I'll say mid to late rounds. I think Espinoza is going to give him all he could handle early in terms of giving him different reads, different looks with the feint and angling out. But I expect Vargas to catch up to him, especially under the tutelage of his dad. Give me Vargas here by knockout. That's how I'm leaning.
Next fight on the card for the interim WBC World Featherweight title and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. We have Bruce Carrington going one-on-one with Mateus Hieta. Shushu is perfect. 15-0, fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, 28 years old. Mateus the Beast is also perfect. 14-0, fighting out of Namibia. Rebin Namibia, 27 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight that Top Rank is kind of propping up to be competitive. Then I watched the footage on Mateus, and I gotta say, where's GSP at?
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Mateus looks like he's punching on the water. He's fought a lot of guys that are kind of nobodies. He's fighting a guy in Shushu who's going to have this obvious speed advantage, the experience advantage, the youth advantage. I think he's even a little bigger than him, low-key. Mateus, to his credit, decent timing, decent pop. He has 9 knockouts on his 14-fight win resume. But, man, this is a huge step up for Shushu. I expect that Top Rank is just propping this dude up, obviously, because this is the last Top Rank card, and they're going to showcase their guys and give him fights that are really going to highlight their assets, low-key. Pause. Give me Shushu Carrington to find a knockout here. I think he styles on this guy. Shushu, it should get him out of here within the mid to late rounds. I think he's going to take his time. To be frank, let me even retract on that a little bit because he probably could just go after him and get him out of there early. The pick is just going to be Shushu by knockout whenever the fuck he wants to. Shushu Carrington for the knockout. That's my play.
Next fight on the card for the WBO World Super Welterweight title, and it's currently constituted the main event for the evening. We have Xander Zayas going 1-on-1 with Jorge Garcia. Zayas is perfect. 21-0, fighting out of Sunrise, Florida, but repping Puerto Rico, 22 years old. Chino Garcia is 33-4 overall, fighting out of Mexico, repping Mexico, 28 years old.
This is a fight that Top Rank is setting up that's going to be a good styles clash. Jorge Garcia is going to come forward, throw volume, throw dynamic punches, decent hand speed, sneaky shots to the liver and the body. But this is Xander Zayas, good boxer, knows how to fight off his back foot, good counter puncher. Once again, I feel like Top Rank is setting up their guy here because this is a guy in Jorge Garcia who has not been stopped, has lost all his fights via decision. Xander Zayas is not the biggest puncher, but has his best fights and best showings when he has a guy that's walking forward and trying to land damage on him. Xander Zayas is the future of Puerto Rican boxing. Hasn't really grown into his man strength yet. With just those two elements alone, and for what I've seen so far, I expect Xander Zayas to cruise to a decision here. He can get hit here. Garcia can get his respect early, which for that bet, I think is going to be appropriate because he will inhibit Zayas from really going after it, in my opinion. Garcia, pretty durable. I expect him to get Zayas' respect early. Garcia is going to be there the whole fight. Give me Xander Zayas here via decision and to cruise to one as he outboxes thoroughly Garcia, who is a flat-footed Mexican-style boxer. Outside of the occasional hook to the body, doesn't have a lot of setups to his shots, where Zayas is a very good counterpuncher and will be able to get his offense off appropriately and in between Garcia's offense. Give me Xander Zayas here via decision.
And that does it for our combat coverage. Episode 108 is in the books. We went from MMA to boxing. We went from Abu Dhabi to Detroit to New York. We got it all covered. But my brother, we're done. Please tell them what the deal is. Take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. And before we close out this podcast, we would also like to plug our new channel that we recently just dropped. My brother can tell you more about it.
It's called After the Opening Credits. And, just a little quick summary. If you like movies, if you like television, anything from the big screen to the silver screen, we got you covered with a whole bunch of reviews and takes. Maybe some of them are hot takes. Come check us out if you're interested.
Yep, just another avenue, another passion of ours along with this MMA space. And with that said, we're going to close out officially episode 108. See you next week for episode 109. Holla at you guys. Love you guys. Subscribe as usual. Love you. Later.